part 2 of the cinnamon roll business. So, the next morning I go get the cinnamon rolls and get them ready to put in the oven. Once the oven's heated up, they go in. And then once they're golden brown and delicious, we take them out and get ready to frost. I use an ice cream scoop to put the icing on and spread it out with a spatula. Now we have all of our iced cinnamon rolls. Then we load them up in the car and we're off to do deliveries. And here's our last delivery of the day to one happy customer. Once deliveries are done, I get to come home and enjoy. Alright, so in the last video, we worked on setting up expressions from word problems. So you may remember from our practice, we had this problem where Miss Oliver charges $12 for a pack of cinnamon rolls plus 10 cents for every mile she has to drive to deliver the cinnamon rolls. And we wrote this expression as 12 plus 10 cents times the number of miles that she drove. Well, today, we're going to add on to that idea. So Valentina bought a pack of cinnamon rolls and paid $12.85. How far does Valentina live from Miss Oliver? Oh, so now we know that Valentina's total was $12.85. So this expression that we had before, we're going to set that equal to the total amount. And now we have what's called a two-step equation. Our goal is to figure out how far Valentina lives from Miss Oliver. Well, to do this, we have to undo this equation in order to figure out what the variable is equal to. Because our variable, m, represents the number of miles that Miss Oliver drove. Well, to do this, the first thing we want to do is move whatever has no variable all to the same side, away from the variable. So if I'm looking at my left side of the equation, I see I've got this 12 that doesn't have a variable. And since it's a positive 12, I'm going to do the opposite of positive 12 and subtract 12 from both sides. When I do that, 12 minus 12 will just give me 0. So I'm left with my 10 cents times m, which is equal to $12.85 minus $12 leaves me with just 85 cents. All right? Now, I'm closer. I'm down to a one-step equation. I've got 10 cents times m is equal to 85 cents. Well, I want to do the opposite of multiplying on this left side of the equation to move the 10 cents over. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 10 cents. When I do that, 10 cents divided by 10 cents on this side leaves me with just m. And if I do 85 cents divided by 10 cents, I get 8 and 5/10. So what this means in terms of this problem is that Miss Oliver drove 8 and 5/10 miles to Valentina's house. So we figured out what we had from the problem. We figured out what the question was asking us. We put what we had together with what we didn't know, and we set up an equation that we were able to solve and figure out the missing information. So our thinking steps for today's lesson are very similar to the previous lesson when we were looking at expressions. We're still reading the problem and recording what information we know. We're still rereading the problem and deciding what information is missing. We're using a variable to represent that unknown information. And now instead of writing an expression that doesn't have an equal sign, we're writing an equation that represents how what we have and what we don't know is related to the total. And then we're using our inverse operations to undo the problem and solve for the variable. So for your practice today, go ahead and pause this video where you're at. The first few are just you getting some practice solving two-step equations. And then I want you to take this idea that we've had from writing expressions and equations and apply it to this word problem. Take a few minutes to do that, and then we'll go over these together. All right, so go ahead and check your answers with mine. If you're feeling good about where you're at, you're confident in solving these two-step equations, and you feel good about setting up an equation and being able to solve it, you can go ahead and skip to the end of this video to get your Khan Academy practice. Otherwise, stick right here and we'll look at these together. All right, so let's start solving some two-step equations. For number 1, I've got 2b plus 5 equals 25. The first thing I want to do is move everything that doesn't have a variable to the same side. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and that leaves me with 2b is equal to 20. So 2b is equal to 20. I want to divide by 2 on both sides. When I do that, I'm left with b is equal to 10. On number 2, we've got 7 minus 5d equals 87. So this one looks a little bit different because our plain number came first and our number with a variable came second. But we can still work this out the same way. My goal is to get the variable by itself, but to start out, I need to move all the plain numbers to the same side. I've got a positive 7 right here, and to undo a positive 7, I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. Now be careful, because when you do this, you still have a negative in front of the 5d, and that's equal to 80. So now we've got negative 5d equals 80. When I divide, I need to divide by a negative 5. I'm trying to make this side into a 1. So a negative 5 divided by a negative 5 will give me just 1d, or d is equal. And when I divide 80 by a negative 5, I'm left with negative 16. Right? Our next one, we have 12x minus 4 5/10 is equal to 7 5/10. So I'm going to start by adding my 4 5/10 to both sides because it does not have a variable. When I do that, I'm left with 12x is equal to 12. Right? So 12 times x, I want to divide by 12. And I'm left with x equals 1. The last one, we have negative 3 8/10 plus 2a is equal to 15 4/10. Now this one looks more similar to number 2. The difference here is that we have a negative 3 8/10. Well, to undo a negative 3 8/10, we're going to add 3 8/10 to both sides. When I do that, I get 2a is equal to 19 2/10. Now I want to divide both sides by 2. And that leaves me with a is equal to 9 6/10. It actually looks like I had a typo on our key from before. So number 4 should be 9 6/10. All right, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and look at that word problem together now. We've got that Miss Weiss bought 3 packs of cinnamon rolls for $12 each and 4 packs of orange rolls. She spent a total of $98. We want to know how much 1 pack of orange rolls cost. So here's what we know from the problem. 3 packs of cinnamon rolls at $12 per pack. And she bought 4 packs of orange rolls. And the total was $98. So our goal, we're trying to find how much 1 pack of orange rolls cost. Cost a pack of orange rolls. So let's go ahead and try to set up an equation based on this information. One thing that stands out to me is that my total is $98. So I'm going to go ahead and put an equals 98 as part of my equation. I also know that I've got 3 packs of cinnamon rolls at $12 per pack. So we did a lot of this in the previous video, but if I use a tape diagram to say 3 packs and each pack costs $12, then I know the total for just the cinnamon rolls is going to be $36. Okay. What I don't know is the cost of a pack of orange roll. That is what I'm trying to find. So I'm going to use the variable C to represent the cost per pack of the orange rolls. So still thinking about my tape diagram, I've got 4 packs of orange rolls, but their cost is represented by C. So instead of getting a number, I actually get 4C for the cost of the orange rolls. So 4C plus that $36 it cost for the cinnamon rolls is equal to $98 that Miss Weiss spent. So now what I've done is I've set up a 2-step equation to represent this story, and I'm going to actually solve it. So my first step in solving it is to go ahead and subtract this 36 and move it to the other side. When I do that, I'm left with 4C is equal to 62. All right. Now, I've got 4 times c is equal to 62. I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 4. And that'll leave me with c is equal to, and if you put this into a calculator, you get 15 5/10. But if we go back up and look at our question, we were trying to figure out how much does 1 pack of orange rolls cost. And we used C to represent the cost per pack. So the C equals 15 5/10. What that actually means is that each pack of orange rolls cost $15.50. Alright, so here's your Khan Academy practice for this lesson. As always, you're free to ask any questions either on Zoom or in Class Dojo or the Remind app. Also remember that I've assigned the videos that go along with these lessons in Khan Academy, so if you need some extra help there, I encourage you to watch those videos. So have fun working. Let us know if you have any questions.